You ready, dude?
Yeah.
All right, I think I got us going live right now. Um,
It says broadcasting.
it says broadcasting. Sometimes there's a little delay. Sometimes we end up looking silly for a second because we're chit chatting and people can see us. Hop over. Okay, I think we're live now. So,
Let's see. I'll tell you for live. Are you watching it on your other screen?
I'm trying to get there, but I'm not there yet. But it looks like
What is it? MLO Network?
yeah, MLO Network. We should be live. I like
It's
to
all
switch
one
over.
word. That's why I can never find it.
Yeah, there we go. We're live. We're live. All right, cool.
Cool.
So,
What's up, everybody? Facebook
what's
land.
up,
Sorry. Go
MLO
ahead.
Network? This is what we called Success Series. We started a couple minutes late because I am not very successful at doing live streams for some reason. I haven't figured out if it's software or my internet speed or just my general lack of being kick-ass at tech. But here we are. Everyone say hello to Alex. If you don't know him, you should know him.
I
Now,
don't know if I'd go that far. I'm a pretty rough person to know.
Now we got mostly loan officers watching today. Alex occasionally drops an F bomb and an S bomb and an A bomb and a bunch of other bombs, C bombs, P bombs, stuff like that. So if that kind of thing offends you, just you might want to turn your volume down or watch this in a different room. I asked Alex to join us. I've known Alex for a while, and I've watched Alex go from, well, I'm not sure where my next paycheck is coming from, to I got a nice house, I got a nice branch, I got a balanced lifestyle. And Alex said, hey, I'd love to jump on a call and talk about how I got there and the things that I do that allow me to work with more ideal clients and make my life more balanced. So I appreciate your time, brother. Thanks for coming with us today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I want to say hi to Katie and Charles, by the way. They just said hi on the Facebook live stream. I'm a big believer in responding to people that show us support, which is part of the reason why I am where I am now. So just want to toss it out there.
Cool, man. Can you turn your volume up a little bit? I don't know if it's my speakers or if your volume's a little
On
bit.
my microphone? Sure. How about that? Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. I had the gain turned down because I did a podcast yesterday, and when you do it in the center of the room, it will pull stronger from certain areas. So I had the gain turned down. So is the volume a little bit better?
That's perfect. Yep. Awesome.
Okay. Awesome.
Awesome. So first question, man, would be, take a look at where you're at and take a look at where you're at 5 or 6 years ago. Did you think 5, 6, 7 years ago that you would be where you are today?
Honestly, I knew I always had the ability to do it. There was no question about that. I knew I could sell. I used to do it all the time. I'd turn it off, turn it on, turn it off, turn it on. It was something that came very natural. Now, would I see myself with 2 kids, a mortgage, car payments, and all the other stuff? No, absolutely not. One of the life-changing things for me was when my daughter was born. That's when it was time to settle down and actually do what I was meant to do and to utilize my talents, and most of all, find different ways of doing things that everybody else was doing, but doing it better.
So you were working for what kind of company before? I mean, you're a branch manager now. I guess let's talk about who you are now. I mean, you
Okay.
run your branch. You are a state manager. I mean, you got basically how many people that you work with?
So as it sits right now, I've hired 2 loan officers this year. One of them is a acting loan officer assistant until he gets his feet wet. He's brand new. I've got another loan officer. He's been in the industry for quite a while. He's got a 5-digit NMLS number, if that makes any difference to anybody. That shows you how long he's been doing this. I've got my loan officer assistant. I've also got my processor. So I've built a team around me. Initially, there was no reason for me to build a team. Initially, the numbers that people produce as a team, I could produce solo for the most part. So yes, state manager, branch manager, Hancock Mortgage. The big thing too is I do a lot of extra stuff on the side. And Fish, that I own extra businesses and other things. But when I say extra stuff, I mean I am now considered a professional podcaster because I received my first check for podcasting, which was awesome. It was like $2.13. But the definition of a professional is a person that gets paid for performing something, and now I'm a professional. I'm moving into the YouTube sector. Just random things that I'm getting into, and I'm getting heavily involved. Fish, this. The first time I had to do a presentation with you guys, it was nerve-wracking. It was horrible. To do something like this was something that was out of the ordinary for me. So for me to sit down and actually learn how to do video, learn how to instruct, do things like that, I took a lot of those lessons from the opportunities that have been provided to me by people like yourself and other groups that I work closely with, and being able to present and learn how to do this in a way that helps grows my business. Now, do you want to talk about where I was 5-6 years ago?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So I used to work for a company, much like a rocket company. It was call centers. I did refis. I did that for about 12 years or so. I am a executioner when it comes to overcoming objections, because that was the way I made my living. If I didn't learn how to execute an objection and move forward to close the sale, then I was not eating. I chose when to eat, when not to. I was single. I could do whatever I wanted to. I didn't have any kids. If I needed to make 20 grand this month so I could go to whatever trip, I made it. If I needed to make $1,500 to get my bills paid, that's what I made. There was one month I remember in particular, as a branch, we closed 18 deals, which was piss poor. But out of those 18 deals, 10 of them were mine. Why? Because I had just gotten back from breaking both my legs and now back into work, and I would wheel my crippled butt to my desk in a wheelchair, and I would execute. The focus wasn't there. The big thing that we get from it, Fish, you've introduced me to a lot of people that have helped my career grow. Jay, all those guys have all introduced me to people that have helped my career grow. But the biggest thing is the networking, the learning from others, the openness and the willingness to share knowledge with other people. That's what's created growth. The difference is knowledge is there. All of us can pick up a book. All of us can watch a podcast or listen to a podcast. I hate it when people say watch a podcast, because you don't really watch them. But listen to a podcast, they can watch one of these videos. But if you are not an action taker, you will remain what I call people, I call these people a tree. And a tree is a person that's in my pathway, and I've got a goal that's at the end of the pathway. And the trees are on the side, they're naysayers, they do what they do what they've always done because they've planted their roots, and they're okay with being okay where they're at. I'm not a tree, I'm a hiker. I'm going to go along the way, and I'm going to reach up and grab the hand like a fisher's, or I'm going to reach back and grab somebody else's hand to help pull them up. That's what a leader and that's what a person that's successful does, in my opinion.
So you have done a really good job of taking action and just running in and doing things. Like you said, a lot of things that you've done, you're uncomfortable doing, but you didn't let that uncomfortable nature stop you. You said, hey, I want to start doing presentations. I want to do those. In your case, you wanted to start doing presentations on social media and VA loans. And, right. As I recall, when you started doing presentations, you didn't even know what you were going to do for a PowerPoint. You didn't know exactly what you were going to teach.
We're going to bring up that day, huh?
Yeah, all you knew is that you wanted to go put yourself in front of agents and talk about something. You were very passionate about it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You're right. So the first formal presentation that I gave for Military Mortgage Boot Camp, those of you that haven't been in the class that don't know about it, it's a great program, I'll tell you that much. But I'm driving from Franklin to Mount Juliet, Tennessee. It's a 45-ish minute drive. And on the way, I'm on the phone with Fish, like, bro, I don't have this. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't have any slides, blah, blah, blah. Fish comes in clutch and sends me these slides that he has. I'm giving a presentation not in front of an agent, not in front of a realtor office, but in front of MTAR, the Eastern Middle Tennessee Association of Realtors. I'm literally like buying donuts, buying coffee, doing stuff like that, all in a hurry to get to this because I woke up and I wasn't prepared. But for me, and Fish, I think you can attest to this, I don't do well with preparation. I do very well with off-cuff and doing what I know how to do, which is execute. The imperfect action, my buddy Chad Prio says that all the time, imperfect action takers. The thing is I didn't have a plan together, but I got there and I executed. Now, that's not meant for everybody, okay? If I was, we were talking about VA, if I was a soldier and I went to execute a plan, a raid on a house, and I had no put together plan, that would not work. That would become a very fatal action. But the fact that I'm just a loan officer who can act and do things off the cuff, that's what allows me to grow and be successful with that. But taking action is the number one thing. If you don't take action, you'll never see a change. And my head's getting cut off by this.
One thing that I remember when you were doing that presentation, you weren't necessarily worried about it because you knew where you could download the presentation. You knew you had access to it.
Right.
You knew you had asked me a couple days before if I could help you that morning. You knew what you were talking about because you had done your training, with us and Jane using a crap load of VA loans over the years. You were comfortable with it. Now, you also had a presentation in front of loan officers in Metro Detroit last year, and I remember that one was a little different because you were teaching something that you were good at, but you hadn't really nailed your presentation, so you put a little more time up front into studying, into paying attention. You came, you're like, hey, here's my presentation, Fish, this is what I'm going to do. You thought it out a little more. And that's one thing I want to bring up because we've been talking about that in our Loan Officer Acceleration Coaching Program. It's important to just schedule time every week to work on what is your next presentation, what is the next time you're going to be in front of people. I've been recommending people do 1 to 2 a month, but you don't necessarily have to be 100% ready. But if you're putting something on the calendar and you know the topic, then it's cool to do exactly what you did. Just to rely on your skills and to kind of whip it together last minute. But if you're doing something you don't know at all, you may want to stop and get up a few hours early and make sure you know what you're talking about.
Right.
Would you agree with that at all? Because there's 2 or 3 different types of loan officers that are watching. Some prepare all day long every day, and some kind of wing it. But I find the ones that prepare all day every day for everything don't even take as much action.
Well, the thing is you prepare all day for everything, but you never exactly get everything. Okay, so some of the professionals. People that prepare, they train hard, they continue to do it. There's always a left field play that comes into place that throws their game off. Why? Because in their mind, they were so prepared for this to happen, and then something different happened. Okay, so, and I came up with this analogy while you were talking because that's how my brain works. I can listen to you talk and process, but also I'm thinking really fast at the same time. And that was, your presentation is like a pencil, okay? You can run a pencil down to where the lead's curved and it's old and it's shiny looking. It will still write, but it will be sloppier. It will be noticeable that pen is worn out, that the preparation isn't there. So if you practice, that preparation becomes like the fine point at the end of a freshly sharpened pencil where it's crisp, precise, and you can get little lines out there. You can get the detail out there. So do I believe in constantly sharpening my pencil? No, because eventually you get burnt out or your pencil gets sharpened down to the eraser and you've got to replace it or take a vacation. My thing is every time I do a presentation, I sit back, and most people don't realize I do this, but I'm very analytical in my mind. I stay up late at night with my mind just racing of ideas. I don't know if it's bad or good. If anyone watching this is a doctor and you think it's a bad thing, send me a private message. But I go through and I say, man, I should have said this instead of that. As you know, Fish, my last presentation that I just did recently in Metro Detroit, there were some slides that were the same. There were some slides that I changed, and there were some slides that I added additional information to, and some of those slides were new. And here's why. So my initial mission to execute that presentation at the first military mortgage boot camp that I was able to present at in Detroit, that mission changed because the audience changed, because the content changed, because my knowledge as it pertained to certain aspects was different than it was initially. I have a want to continue to grow. Unlike some people, I get up in the morning, I throw on a podcast, I throw on a motivational book, I throw on Jocko Willink. I'm a huge fan of the man. I put something on from him, I jump in the car and typically do the same thing. And then throughout the day, I'm listening to audiobooks, things like that. I do it because I want to be sharp.
I like how you mentioned tailoring your presentation or tailoring what you're doing to your audience. And I think that's something that I've been learning as I do more and more presentations. I, like you, have been trying to do as many presentations as I can. I've done, I think, 7 in the last 4 or 5 weeks. And I got to the point where it was almost too much. And then I try to do these things here on the camera, and it's hard to keep your mind fresh and have that high level of energy when you're always trying to be the man and be in front of stage. And I talk to Jay about this a lot because Jay's really good. Or the woman. Yeah. Well, Jay's really good at presenting, and we sometimes don't think about that. Does take a lot of energy out of you. It's like being on stage as a rock star. You're sitting there trying to perform at a high level, but you're demanding a lot out of your mind and out of your body. and you do feel drained after doing a lot of presentations or after doing a couple of really solid ones. I did an event with Ian up in Traverse City. Some of his folks, I think, are watching this call live. And I talked to a few of them afterwards, and they're like, "Oh, good job, Fish." I'm like, "Man, I didn't feel as sharp for that one because I'd done a bunch of them in a row, and I wasn't sure. My audience in that case was LOs that were slightly newer, that needed a little more help with basic training, and I was trying to do some of the stuff we did with our advanced students in our Detroit event, and some of them were like, "Oh man, this is really tricky. We're kind of getting lost." And I'm like, "Oh, that's right, my audience is newer." Or if you try to adapt some of the stuff you're doing for loan officers for realtors, Jay and I made that mistake in some presentations last year where we were spending time teaching our LOs or people in our branches, and the next thing you know, we're teaching realtors, and the realtors are getting lost or confused. And I see LOs doing that with mortgage program information, with social media. They start talking to a group of realtors as if those realtors are already at their level. And, most of the realtors that we present to, we should be teaching at maybe like an 8th grade level, like they've never really seen this information before. And they haven't spent 2 or 3 years learning loan programs or social media or any of that kind of stuff. So,
see, to me, that's part of being a great instructor. Okay, so if you're going to do a presentation, there's a couple things you have to understand. One, you have to understand the knowledge level of your audience. 2, you need to understand what it is you're presenting, and 3, you need to understand how to deliver what you know to that audience level. So if you walk into an 8th grade classroom and you talk to them, and I use 8th grade, I'm not saying that realtors are 8th graders. What I am saying is just a simple analogy. But if you walk into an 8th grade classroom and say, "Hey, I'm going to teach you compound physics," you're going to have a bunch of jaws that hit the ground. Now, I don't even know if compound physics is a real thing. I may have just made that up. But the fact of the matter is there may be 1 or 2 kids in that class that get how to do that or that can pick up quickly. But as a good presenter or a great presenter, you understand how to relay your message to your audience at hand. Whether it's advanced, intermediate, or just beginning, you know how to deliver a message in a way that people get it. So my social media branding class, when I do the initial class, and that's why I do my classes in series. I do my initial class, it's very basic. It's literally talking about how to fill up your Facebook, how to do this, how to do that. And then I have my branding class. And then I do my social media advanced class. And that's where the people that came to the first class should know enough of a basis and a foundation to take the second class. And then I hit them with a nice home run. And that's the military mortgage boot camp class. So when I train that class, I'm instilling that everything that I just taught you is good as gold. But on top of that, I am also a specialist, not an expert. Jay would kill somebody if they said expert. I'm a specialist at VA mortgages. And that's the thing. So loan officers that are listening
how many
to this
did you do last year? What was the final count? Mostly purchases, right?
Oh, loans?
No, like
or
VA
percent?
loans.
76% of my business last year was VA. Average loan amount of 226.
So you closed like 55 VA loans or something like that?
No, I closed like always be prepared. Almost 60 of them were VA.
Okay.
So it was like 59.28 was VA. So that's a lot of VA loans, and it's at a high dollar. He was
that a manufactured house?
Right. I don't do those. And that's the thing. That's what I want to tell you guys is find out what you're great at. I am passionate about veg. I got a shirt on right now. Fish, how many times have you ever seen me wear a shirt other than mine? And it says on the front, "Don't tread on me." On the back, it says, "I'll never apologize for being an American." Why? Because I eat, breathe, sleep, and defecate military, VA, things like that, because that's what I'm passionate about. Be passionate about whatever message you're trying to deliver and be consistent about it. If you want to be the Rockstar Mortgage, I see Ed's on here. Rockstar Mortgage, excellent brand, excellent name. Ed's a rock star. And if he said, "You know what, I only want to do mortgages for rock stars," and that's it, he needs to deliver that message, keep that message, and everything he does as a daily activity needs to push that message. If you don't, you're going to confuse your audience. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Let's talk about social media, because I know a lot of the folks follow AJ Nashville. They follow your posts, and they just think like, "Oh, Alex knows this stuff. He's great at this stuff." but they don't do that. They don't take action themselves because they just think it's too complicated and overwhelming and techy, and they're afraid to get started. I mean, did your social media just kind of blow up in 1 week or 1 month?
Oh, okay. So let's go to building a brand. It's been years that I've been building this brand, but I am very persistent on it. I actually talked about it in the post the other day. When I had trees in my path that made fun of me, that laughed, that thought, hey, this is stupid. Why are you doing this? I wish I could, the Snickers that, hey, I wish I could brand my AJ or my initials. Ha, 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 funny, funny, funny. I moved past those trees. And when I got hit in the face with a branch or something like that, I continued to go forward. It's not an overnight success. It never is. And that's the thing. You look on the surface, everything looks like an overnight success. In actuality, those things have taken years and years and years of preparation and being put down by people and everything else in order to make something like this happen and make it work. So you're going to have naysayers. When you're getting ready to hit that peak and you're getting ready to hit the top, you're going to have someone that says, no, you're stupid, stop doing that. And half of you or almost all of you is going to say, you're right, I'm going to. But then you need to look back and say, what have I been through and where am I at now? My social media, people, the comments, oh, you post too much. What is AJ Nashville? Oh, that's stupid. That's this. Guess what I do now? Delete, see ya, I've deleted friends that I've been friends with for a long time. Why? Because if you don't have a positive message that meets the same message that I have, then we don't need to be friends on social media. Because I'm trying to deliver a message to help people and to help people grow and to help myself grow. And if I have naysayers that don't follow that same expectation, that's okay. I'll get rid of them. I got room for one more now. I keep 5,000 friends. And let me tell you guys, everybody that's listening, having 5,000 friends is a massive pain in the butt. Because now you have to, Fish sends me a request. We're buddies. Now I got to figure out who I'm going to delete in order to put Fish in there. But here's the thing. It always shows the top people that I always talk to. I wish there was a filter that said, who's the people that I talk to the least? Because those would be the people I delete. Now I delete people on their birthday. Because I'll go through and I'll be like, I don't know that person, or I don't really like that person, so I'll delete. Literally, it'll say birthdays of today, and I'll go in and delete. I recently found out I had family I never knew I had, okay? And the friends request that came up, I deleted like 25 people to add like 25 people, and the family's still coming, That's another story. That's another podcast. That's another, we'll get into that one some other time.
Well, folks can hear part of that story. They should go to AJ Nashville and listen to the podcast, right?
Absolutely. I always upload it. I try to keep everything fresh on the podcast. I actually appreciate that plug. Also, I'm building my YouTube channel. So my YouTube channel should be available on my page here in the next day or so. If you don't mind, if you could please subscribe. What I do is I video a lot of my podcasts, and I'm starting to transition meetings like this onto my YouTube. I'm not trying to be a YouTube celebrity. What I'm trying to be is a person that's searchable for the people that need the type of help that I can provide. Because at the end of the day, I love doing mortgages, but I love helping people more.
You know what I've really noticed and what's impressed me and what I've tried to learn from you last year, I don't know if I've ever said this, so don't tear up, but is how you shifted your mentality over the last 3 or 4 years. I mean, you've always been somebody who tried to help those around you, but you've gone out of your way to help people with pretty much with anything. And it seemed like, you realized you had to get your business up and running first. You had to have a solid structure and support behind you before you could spend, time just helping people in a way that wasn't related to your mortgage business. But after you had that structure built in your business, you made your focus more on how can I help people around me? How can I help enrich their lives? And it's, yes, a lot of these people do business with you and you're helping them with their business. In one of your posts, you said, I'm trying to help 5 or 6 people, make $100,000 for the first time or something. And that kind of inspired me. But it's just being a person who gives back to the world instead of takes from the world. And, it seems like that's coming back to you tenfold. And it seems like, you've used social media and video and all these other tools to do that. So, I ask you about social media, but just like you and I said, the information on how to use social media is out there. It's not hard to learn. What's hard to do is to take the action. I think so many people, think they're going to watch this call with Alex and Fish, and they're going to pick up some tech piece or some little trick or secret that's going to help them instantly transform their life. But
Here's the big thing. Treat people like you want to be treated. So when you care about the person, the rest will come. I promise you that. Last year, I just did my taxes. This is how I know this number. Over $21,000 that I gave back to veterans, whether it be at the VFW, whether it be my Rappers for Warriors, my Weenies with Warriors that's coming up. That's a lot of money. But for me, it's one of those things that I'm able to give back because I'm successful enough and because I care more about the person and not about the paycheck. Those things will come. But when you have good in your heart, that's when you grow. That's when you have raving fans. You know, Chet Holmes, in one of his books, he talks about having raving fans, I believe he calls them. And that's truly what it is. When you give back and you're genuine and you're not the person that people want you to be on Facebook, that's the key. If you don't mind, Fish, I want to share something, a previous client, and I know we've got an agenda here. I'll make it relatively brief.
No, I want to see it.
Okay, so I had a previous client reach out to me yesterday. She said, what is your personal email address? I want to send you a message. Okay, I'm not going to discuss this person's name, but here's the one thing she said, and this is that key tech piece that all you guys are looking for. Everyone that's sitting here waiting for that knowledge bomb or that gold nugget, here it is. Okay. All right, so I'm not going to read everything else. This person's been through a horrible time in life, okay? But she's a human being. She's a person. She's got a great soul. She's an awesome person to deal with. And her words to me was, the point or moral to the story, and what I wanted to send you was that I watch your videos, read your posts, or anything else that has to do with you, and I always smile. I don't feel alone, and I don't feel sad. On Facebook, sometimes people put up a facade to make everything look perfect. You don't do that. You shoot straight, and you tell it like it is, and that's what I think is most important in life, honestly. Here's why I say that. When I do a post, when I do a video, it's raw. It's me, okay? There's no confusion because you don't see me talking about, hey, I'm this badass big baller, shot caller, blah, 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 and the next day I'm crying because I'm broke. I talk about me and what really happens in my life, and that's what people engage in. People engage in the things that they feel is true and feel is real with life. And so if you do those things and project your message like you care about the people more than you care about the paycheck, because that's what you honestly do, then you'll be successful. If you're worried about the 25 cents or the $100 bills or whatever it is, I say 25 cents. That's a stupid number. My daughter likes quarters. But if you worry about stuff like that and you don't worry about providing an exceptional experience, if you don't worry about building raving fans, if you don't worry about the people that you're helping because you're saving marriages, you're preventing suicides. You know, one of the things that resonates with Jay, he mentioned that there was a veteran that committed suicide because this shit-ass loan officer, and that's my one cuss word, said this person was going to be approved, and it turned out this person wasn't, and that was the one string that was holding this guy's marriage together, and it ended up in a suicide. If you don't take your job and the passion of what you do to that extent where you're saving lives, you're helping save marriages, you're putting first-time home buyers in a home, you're doing the right thing. If you're more worried about getting paid, you're in the wrong industry. You are what gives people in our industry the wrong name. And project that on social media. If your passion is first-time home buyers, project that. If your passion is knitting doilies because your grandma and you used to sit on the floor and knit doilies all day, then talk about that. But it's so much easier to post on Facebook when you're you than it is when you're pretending to be somebody else.
100%. You know, I've been watching a good friend of mine, Michelle, who does a lot of VA loans as well as a veteran, in Indiana. Some of you watching here know Michelle. And, you know, she doesn't have the same kind of message that you do. She's not out talking about guns and trucks and Southern Tennessee stuff. But she's participates a lot in a Facebook group that it has to do with like glam makeup and glam clothing and things like that. That's right. Her passion. She was talking to me about social media, and I kind of said the same thing. I'm like, be authentic, have an opinion, and share the way that you feel with the world, but do it in a way that's entertaining and engaging. And yeah. I've watched her post a lot about these different glam parties and some of the pictures. And she's got this whole little cult of people that love her. And of course she does all their loans, but it's helped her build a really solid reputation in that mom club in Indiana. And it's not this, you don't have to be Alex, you don't have to be Fish, but be yourself on social media. That's the way that you win. It's not about posting loan programs and rates and, oh my gosh, I saw the barn market go up and down. I mean, yeah, you want to share that stuff, but add your
Yeah.
own opinion. Add why it's important. When you go to put a post on social media, you saw one of your LO friends put a post out. Are you just going to copy that all day, every day? Is that your whole social media strategy? I mean, it works a little bit, but add your own opinion. Make a video where you talk for 5 or 6 minutes or 3 minutes or whatever, or write 4 or 5 paragraphs. Some of you have seen Alex, and I'm not trying to put myself in your category because you crush this, but you've seen both Alex and I putting posts out or making videos where we have a clear opinion about something and we write about it. I mean, I sometimes write things out before I post them on social media. I know you do the same thing. I mean, you are planning. Like you and I have been at live events and you're like, hey, I got a post coming up, but you don't post right away. It's not just whipping stuff out of nowhere. You've been intentional.
Right.
You've thought about what you wanted to say to the world. That's how you win on social media. You actually have something important that the world wants to see. You're like an anchor man, right? Ron Burgundy, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing is you provide the content. The only reason why I write something out before I publish it is because I'm a shitty grammar person, which completes the whole structure of that sentence I just had. So I do it because I want to make sure it looks okay. But for me, video is easy. David, how much volume did I close last year? I was at 17.3 million. Not knocking the doors down by any means, not crushing it by any means, but I'm doing a lot better than most loan officers out there. Now, that being said, if the rest of this year goes as it started, I will be well over, give me my calculator for a second. Oops, sorry. Which it's trending that way, and a lot of it, once again, is because of the type of growth that I have. If everything trends the way it has, I should be around 27 million this year. So,
Well, and you got what you wanted. I mean, you have an office where you can dress how you want.
Right.
Your team rocks things out. You guys close things pretty smoothly and pretty quickly. Your office is exactly where you want it to be in a great neighborhood, and it's fairly accessible for most of your South Nashville audience. And
Right.
that's more important as whether you close 16 million or 20 million. I mean, your life balance, the way that what you do for those around you is
Right.
so huge.
And that's the big thing for me. So most of you don't realize my deep passion isn't in mortgages. I love doing mortgages, but I like spending a lot. Hell, November, for example, and this goes back to why my numbers it wasn't that they were low, but they weren't as good as they should have been. But I spent 2 days in town in the month of November. The rest of the month, I was out of town just about every working day, if not weekends as well. I spent literally 2 days at my office. And that's because that's what I choose. I get compensated enough. I'm able to make sure that my people are paid. I'm able to make sure my bills are paid and everything else. I'm able to put enough money aside to do the things I want to do. But ultimately, I want to get into the training platform. I want to get into the coaching platform. I've been writing 2 books. I've got podcasts going. Like, that shit consumes time. Now, if I stopped and I focused just on production, here's the downside. I lose the passion for the thing that motivated me to do production anyways. The fact I was able to give over $20,000 back to veterans is what I want to do. So I'm making money. I'm not doing what, Andrew Cady, that dude straight crushes it. His numbers are insane. I know there's a lot of other people out here that their numbers are crushing it, and it's insane. Here's the thing. The great thing about all of us is if you can take one little bit of advice that we talk about here on this, and that helps your business go from 50 million a year to 55, or from 10 million a year to 15, then we're helping each other. I know that I can pick up the phone and call any of these loan officers on here and say, hey man, I saw that you did this, or hey girl, I saw that you did that. Tell me what you're doing. And they're going to share it because there's an abundance mentality amongst people who are successful. People who are successful don't mind sharing with people who want to grow as long as they are action takers. That's the key. I will share anything. I do coaching calls for loan officers every Wednesday. I don't charge them. It's an accountability meeting. And guess what? One of those loan officers doubled his production for the month of January. Okay? So I'm helping. I have a private group that I do free training. I don't pay for it. I don't charge people because it's my passion. It's not my profession. but I have all these different aspects that are limited to small
Came up
groups.
here to help us with our boot camp class. I mean, we did
I love it.
for free. I mean, you had your guys pay. You paid your own hotel room. We didn't
Right.
pay you. We bought you some free food, and we didn't charge you a ticket because you taught for 3 hours. But that
Probably
was a
talk
huge
longer than
favor.
that if you let me.
That was a huge favor to us, though, and some of the LOs that came to that event. I mean, I see a couple of them watching, and I mean,
Right.
they were very appreciative. I watched a couple of them take action right away, and I saw a few more that had watched our live stream videos, implement some of the things that you had said.
Right.
If you're in that program, the objection section that we did, we have an objection recording somewhere here in MLO Network, but the one we did at our boot camp event was really cool, and I felt like you and Jay crushed it. Some people are like, "Oh, Fisher, you're good. I can see you're a good salesman." Then I sit there and I watch you and Jay go. I'm like, "Dude, I'm an amateur. You guys were just like
No, it's
stone
not
cold
like that.
pros."
But see, you're great with engineers. I'm the type, I'm like, engineer, nope, I'm out. If someone comes across my table and they're a CPA, I know I'm not going to get along with them very well, so I move on. And here's the thing, Eric just
I have a
commented.
spreadsheet that's called the Engineer Killer. It's saved on my
Yeah.
laptop. As the
Oh,
Engineer Killer.
I know. That's not my thing. But Eric just commented, and actually it's funny that he did because it brings up something that I was thinking about when you were talking about military mortgage boot camp and doing that. So me going to Michigan did some things for me. It's not all about, oh, you did this. It's not monetary. It did some things for me. So I got to present in front of people who have served this country. It is an honor to stand in front of people who have fought to protect this country and help educate those who haven't, who need to understand how to handle those people who have. Okay, so that's the honor in the first place is something I enjoy. Knowing people like Eric. The dude's a fucking warrior, just sitting there listening to him slightly. But here's the thing, he gave me an idea. He said, hey, man, you should do your AJ Nashville shirts in the color that the people can wear underneath their uniform. This way, when they're deployed overseas, they can wear those shirts underneath their uniform, take it off, and they've got your logo and everything, but it's a way to give back. I said, you know what? That's a great idea. Guess what I'm picking up here in a couple days? My shirts with that logo. Guess who's getting a fucking shirt with that logo on it? Eric. Without a question. Those shirts come out. It was his idea. I attribute that idea to him. It was a fantastic idea I would have never came up with. So even though I went there and I paid for my hotel, I didn't pay for my ticket, but I had my guys pay for their tickets, I brought something back with me. And that's what this is truly about. Whether you're a loan officer, whether you're a coach, whether you're a mentor, the fulfillment isn't always in the bank account. Sometimes it's mental. Sometimes it's knowing. Honestly, if I knew that all my bills could be paid and I could go around the country and do what I do and still live the same lifestyle I do now, I would do it for free without a question about it. The thing is I can't, so I still got to hustle and I still got to blow my market up. But the nice thing is I am known as a VA specialist in the Middle Tennessee market.
I like how you brought up a really good point. It's surrounding yourself with people that have passion, surrounding yourself with people that win. And I know sometimes we always talk about putting ourselves in a room with people that are smarter than us, but there's also a time where we need to step up as leaders. And I think I'm changing my position on this a little bit. I think it's okay to be in different rooms, at different points in the year and throughout your career. And you're not always going to find a room where everybody's smarter than you, but you're going to find a room where people are equally as passionate. And
Right.
I think when you and I first met, we were all in this mentality. We're like, oh, we got to find the smartest room and the smartest room and the smartest room. But we were perhaps paying so much attention to only the people that were smarter than us, and we weren't always paying attention to some of the people around us that needed us to lift them up. And I think that helping those around us that aren't where we're at get up to our level, in many cases, enriches us and brings way more than we ever expected to us. And that's something
Right.
I posted about in this group just a few days ago. And my goal in the next 12 months is to help 100 people that have never made $100,000 make $100,000. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to track it, but I know that one of my methods is going to be things like this. Is going to be videos. It is going to be coaching and consulting and events and things like that where I can help people on a bigger scale than one-on-one. But I'm also going to be doing a lot of one-on-one stuff for my personal mortgage business, helping business owners and helping realtors and, just make some tweaks and get them from that 60, 70 grand to over 100 grand. I know I have some success stories in my market of people I work with, but You don't see me posting about it much. I don't like to brag about it, but I feel like if I can be a part of someone building a better lifestyle, that will enrich me for life. And I know I've told you this story, Alex, and this isn't about me; it's about you. But you have a very similar experience where you've helped one particular agent really make a great life for himself. I did the same thing in my career. I feel like we have that in parallel. The agent that I did that with, I just went over to his $1 million house and watched the Super Bowl with him. He's been loyal to me for 13 or 14 years. But when he first started, he had 0 deals in his pipeline. There wasn't a whole lot of LOs spending time helping and coaching and consulting and marketing with him. But I was the guy who saw his passion, saw his loyalty, saw how hard he would work, just like you did with Eduardo. So let's talk a little bit about that, and then we'll close the call. Let's talk about how you can find people that are, that need help, that are in the business, that are good partners to work with, and help them out, and how much that can enrich you in your life.
So the biggest thing with that is you have to find action takers. And in order to find action takers, you have to find people that don't take action. And what I mean by that is simple, okay? And you talked about, smartest people in the room, this, that, and another. With my production, am I a low producer by any means? No. But I'm not the Clayton Schmeisers and those guys that are closing just stupid numbers. But I was given access in that room to learn, and grow and everything else. Now, with your agents, here's what you're going to find. You're going to find action takers in those who aren't. So if I tell you, hey, this is the best way to do this on Facebook, and I monitor that, and you decide not to do what I'm telling you to do, then you're not an action taker. Why? Because I have proven results. Not because I came up with the formula, but because I paid somebody much smarter to learn how to come up with that formula and to do that. And then I've learned from people sitting at a round table, joking around on over a beer or over hot wings or whatever, and learn tricks. So if you're not willing to take the action that it takes to grow, then you're not on my team. And that's all there is to it. You can monitor that very easily. The thing with Eduardo is he took action. I could have told him, hey, dude, you need to roll burritos with your feet upside down while hanging in a room. And the dude would have had upside down feet burritos for sale because that's how passionate he is. And what you do is the people that suck your time, the trees, I use this analogy all the time. They're okay with being rooted where they are. And when you go past them, they will be there. And when you come back, they'll still be there, and they'll just be a taller tree. Why? Because they're okay with being okay. So you find people that are passionate. I never go after the big fish. No pun intended. I never go after the big fish in an agency because everybody's going after them. And I want the person that was the person that's going to become the big fish, because eventually those people will evolve to be something bigger than what they were initially. And so find you some people that are like-minded. When I sit with my agents, we talk about guns, knives, everything. I can't even tell you some of the things we talk about because Facebook would ban me from Facebook. But the fact of the matter is we talk about things. We relate to each other. They send me memes. We joke around. But they're motivated. When these guys get a lead or these girls get a lead, they can hit me up and say, hey, I called that person. Here's what we're doing. Moving on to the next. And then we grow together.
I like it, man. So last thought I got on that, and then I'm pretty much out of questions, is that you mentioned you're partnering with these people and you're helping them get leads. You and I both know that comes because you're a badass marketer and you know how to generate leads. Right. I've seen a ton of talk in this group and in other groups and from people I respect a lot, like Scott Groves, where they're talking about the agent versus the LO relationship and the whether agents should be opening mortgage companies in their office or whether LOs should be worried about whether they can make money off a real estate deal. All this comes from if you're the person that knows how to make it rain and how to create marketing opportunity, there's a lot of ways that you can build your business. And yes, you and I really think parallel. We have a lot of similar thoughts. I'd like to teach and train and help those around me get better at marketing so that they can grow and in turn grow with me. Now, whether I've got to build systems for them or whether I just have to teach them how to do it, either method works. But I'm not going to spend a lot of time working with somebody who is handing out 3 cards. Has right. been in the business for 5 years, has never closed more than 3 deals. But I will spend a lot of time with that person who is 1 or 2 years in, closed 7 or 8 deals, and is hustling like crazy, but they just aren't doing it the right way. And
take 7 or 8 deals and multiply it by 10 agents. I have 27 agents on my roster that I consistently work with that are close to me. And let's say out of those 27 that each of them closed an average of 5. How many deals am I closing per year? Don't do the math because I didn't, but I'm just saying.
Public math.
Right.
I know.
Math, what is that?
There's people in this group that don't agree with that. There's people that will tell you and I know you should be calling on the top dogs and you should be the most polished guy and you should work with 10 people and those 10 people should each give you 10 deals a year. And if you don't work with those 10 people, then, move on. I'll probably have a call with some of those people later, and I appreciate that method too. There's nothing wrong with that method.
Do what works for you.
Right.
If calling those 10 agents that are the top 10 producers is what's bred success for you, then don't stop. But if it hasn't, then it's time to find a different way. The definition of an insanity is continuing to do something expecting a different result but receiving the same result. So if you're beating your head against the wall because you're calling 10 of the best agents in your area and they won't give you the time of day and you're not closing more loans because of it, then it's time to find a different path. My big thing, and Fish, I think you can see this on the surface, especially because I brought Jim along for MMBC in Detroit here recently. Me and my team are cream. When we grow, we all go to the top. None of us are the coffee that stays at the bottom. We're all the cream that rises to the top. I gave my loan officer assistant a bonus structure this year that could probably yield him an extra $40,000 or $50,000 on top of his base salary this year. Why? Because my productions went up, but it's also been his hard work. He's the other piece of me. He's the other, and I don't hashtag no homo. But if you listen to my podcast yesterday, you have to do your job, and the thing is I need to make sure that somebody else can do their job as well, and I rely on him to do that. So do what works for you as long as it produces and yields the results. If it doesn't, find a different way.
Dig it, dude. Well, that's all I got, unless anybody else has something. Anybody questions, comments, concerns, quips? All right. Cool, dude. Well, we appreciate your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you to everyone. Thanks. We got some veterans on here. Thanks for your service, guys. Without you, we wouldn't have the free will to be able to do the things we're doing now, putting on the training classes, social media, all that other stuff. So thank you so much for your service. That's it. That's all I got to say.
Last comment. You got this big Anglo-Saxon thing in the background there. So now that you're British, you're embracing your Anglo-Saxon heritage? Is that?
Who's Anglo-Saxon? What does that mean?
It's in the background on your screen. It's just streaming. It says.
No. Okay. So this thing. No. Okay. So that's my iMac, and what it does is it will put up a word of the day, and it'll try to teach you. So it's not supposed to do that. It's supposed to be automatic, but I just don't mess with it as much because I've got to do some things. But my MacBook Pro, which once again this falls into action taking, guys. I didn't have Apple computers and Yeti microphones and tripods
camera studio.
And yeah. I mean, I have a full-blown studio, and it's because I had to take the action to provide a superior product. So. Sorry to get off on the tangent, but no, that's I don't know why it does it. I use it to listen to music right now. That's all. Everybody buys a freaking iMac to listen to music with, right? Speakers are impeccable. So, anyways, yeah.
Time that we're getting back to work, and I'm gonna bring you back to work. We appreciate your time, bud. Anytime.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Got it,
Have a great day, everyone.
Bless America.